everybody, so we've got a fun review today as we're discussing Season 3 of Chucky. Always a fun time talking about this series on the channel as a lifelong fan of the franchise, but also just a big fan of the show in general. Genuinely, between Season 1 and Season 2, now leading the story into Season 3, I've mostly been very excited to see where we go next with the story. In Season 3, we find Chucky, now a part of the president's family in the White House, unsure as to how he wound up there, but also how possibly can Jake, Devin, and Lexi get to Chucky inside of the White House. Meanwhile, Tiffany faces dilemmas of her own as police close in on her for Jennifer Tilly's murderous rampage. Everything touched upon in this review is based upon the first 4 episodes of Season 3, which is Part 1. Part 2 comes out next year, hopefully, fingers crossed. Going into Season 3, there are quite a lot of interesting questions swirling around. I think the biggest one a lot of us have is how in the hell did Chucky end up in the White House? Nobody could have guessed that based upon the cliffhanger ending in Season 2. Season 3 does continue on those storylines pertaining to Caroline's disappearance and Devin, Lexi, and Jake searching for her. But first off, we just start off with Chucky in the White House early on. Within these first 4 episodes, there is a lot of novelty put behind the concept of having Chucky infiltrating the White House and causing a lot of mayhem. It's one of the strongest overall aspects of Season 3 when they choose to focus on it, since they truly pull no punches when it comes to Chucky murdering people in the White House in brutal, gory fashion. We've seen in previous seasons the gore ramps up. Some of the kills that we see in the White House in Season 3 might be some of the most insane that I've seen in the entire franchise. Some of them are so disgustingly gory, there's no visible way I could show you the kills when I do the spoiler reviews when the episodes drop week to week on USA and SYFY. All I'm gonna tease is there's a kill with a letter opener that is just borderline traumatizing. It's no shock to say at this point, after decades of playing this iconic character, that Brad Dourif continues to bring his A-game as Chucky. Chucky continues to be the best part of this season. He just still continues to find ways to keep up this iconic character, keep him fresh, and deliver so many great quotable lines of dialogue, and it is enjoyable watching him antagonize the kids from inside of the White House, especially due to the added arrogance that Chucky has in Season 3 because he's in the White House and he knows how difficult it's going to be for these kids to get into him inside the White House. It adds a fun new layer to the mix, other than the fact that he's killing people in the White House, and that just as a concept is ridiculous and fun. But the added tension to the story with Jake, Lexi, and Devin trying to formulate a plan to get in there and take out Chucky once again. More or less, I would say that Season 3 is structured very similarly to the previous seasons of the show, very familiar. Chucky kills people in brutal fashion, Jake, Devin, and Lexi try to stop him, while there's a mystery behind what exactly is Chucky's motivations this season. What are his plots? How did he get in the White House? Why is he in the White House with the president's family? And all of that does unravel over time. Just to touch upon the angle with the president's family a little bit, I think it's hilarious that Devin Sawa once again has yet another role in the Chucky show. This time he's the president, President Collins. Consistently, he's a highlight of this show each and every season, even if he usually ends up dying in some shape or form. This season in particular, I do think it's probably my least favorite of all of his Chucky roles. He's featured a decent amount in Part 1, but a lot of the time he is very stoic, and just comparatively to some of his other roles, I think he was just able to showcase a bit more range, but it's Part 1. There's still a whole lot more season to go, so I'm not writing off the character entirely. Similar to in previous seasons of Chucky, it does take a little bit to get the story moving. It is a mystery after all, unraveling what exactly are Chucky's motivations, because they do fluctuate every season, and once you start getting some of those answers for why Chucky's doing what he's doing, what he's cooking up in Season 3, and why he's even in the White House at all, it probably is the most goofy out of all of the plots that Chucky has cooked up, which is a feeling that I left a lot of the time in Season 3, it is a very absurd season. Now, this franchise is no stranger to incorporating comedic over-the-top elements with its horror, and for the most part, I still think it does work in Season 3. It's just unfortunate that so far this season, it lacks a lot of the horror, instead choosing to just plunge into just straight goofiness. Rarely was there ever a moment in these 4 episodes where I found myself myself genuinely scared. Instead, I was laughing. And that's when the jokes do land. There are a few moments when Chucky's plan comes to fruition in episode 4, where he dresses up like an iconic character for a Halloween party. Some of the funniest stuff in the entire show. Same goes for Jennifer Tilly when we cut to the Tiffany stuff and Jennifer Tilly being put on trial. Some of that stuff is comedic gold due to how perfectly Jennifer Tilly continues to deal with that duality between Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly and trying to get away with everything by pleading insanity, only to continue ramping up the absurdity when she does get to prison. Once Tiffany is in prison, that is when the show started to lose me. As much as I love Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany Valentine as a character, some of the sequences with her in prison, ridiculously slapstick. I'm talking Three Stooges level of goofiness that take me out of the show entirely. Even back in season 2, one of the big criticisms I remember a lot of people discussing was how silly certain sequences are, like Seed of Chucky level of silliness. I feel like they kind of just doubled down on that tone from season 2, so if that's something that you did not like in season 2, I don't think you're going to be much happier going into season 3. When it comes to Jake, Devin, and Lexi, they continue to be yet another vital part of this show and continue to be great. I love all 3 of these characters. Ironically, the best of the bunch I still think continues to be Lexi, who really impressed me in season 2, and in season 3 I think she is continuously becoming the best character amongst the 3. Out of all 3 seasons facing off against Chucky, this is definitely their hardest hurdle yet because of how difficult it is to even just try and get anywhere near the White House. Also, for all of the Nika fans out there are a couple appearances of her character in these first 4 episodes. Nothing too crazy or substantial. A lot of it is relegated to flashbacks because there's one entire episode of these 4 that is basically just an entire flashback episode to get you up to speed. But she's still great. She's just not in a whole lot of the season so far, and I have to imagine she's more than likely going to be playing a bigger role in the second half of the season. Mainly due to some of the big events that are set up in these first 4 episodes that we're going to be seeing paid off in the next 4 episodes. It's one of those things, because it's only 4 episodes, they're still setting up all of the pieces, and there are a couple good big reveals and surprises in these first 4 episodes, some of which are some pretty fun guest stars you wouldn't expect to see in the show. But it does feel like we're kind of just scratching the surface by the end of the 4th episode. The 4th episode, I think, is one of my favorite out of these 4 episodes. The first episode's pretty good, and the 4th episode, I think, is probably my favorite. Season 3 of Chucky more or less feels right in line with the previous seasons. You know exactly what you're going to get when you show up to watch this show, and it still has a lot of charm, I think, mainly due to Chucky consistently bringing the thrills. So just for that aspect alone, I think it is worth tuning into each and every week around Halloween season, because the show does start in October, and I think it feels perfectly right in line with another Halloween spooky season type of format. But make sure you share your thoughts down below. Once you get a chance to check out Chucky when it debuts on USA Network and SYFY October 4th. How did you feel about the show? Did you like the show? Did you not like the show? And be sure to stay tuned for all the recaps I'm going to be doing in the future, my spoiler reviews, because I've done them for all the other episodes in the previous 2 seasons. So that's going to be a lot of fun because there's so much stuff I want to talk about with the season, but I wanted to save them for a spoiler review because there's some pretty wild stuff I wish I could have shared with you guys here today. Either way, thank you guys so much for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Next time, see you guys later.